welcome to my channel where we talk about motorbikes and more. And today we're not going to be talking about motorbikes as I promised. So in my other videos I promised that one day soon, which is my third video, we're not going to be talking about bikes. Instead, we're going to be talking about how do you improve your recorded voice. So maybe you're getting starting out in YouTube and you've recorded your voice and you're like, do I really sound like that? And maybe you don't like your voice. So I'm going to give some tips on how you can improve your recorded voice, or just improve the way you speak in general. So we'll start off with basic getting started, like superficial stuff, just to get started, and then I'll get to my main point, which is the second point that I'll make will be my main point, which is the most important thing, in which I don't know if people even talk about this. So make sure you get up to my second point, which is the most important thing about your recorded voice and how it sounds. So the first thing, superficial stuff, let's get the easy stuff out of the way, is just make sure your sound setup is right. So if you're putting a helmet, mic, you've got the windshields type things to block out the sound of the wind. Maybe if you're doing voiceovers, make sure you've got your room set up properly, your acoustics, your sound dampening, also what you can do is later on editing. So I use Audacity, which is free software, and you can use that to just get, if you've got too much bass or treble or something, you could use like a high pass filter to get rid of bass, or a low pass filter if you don't have enough bass. So you can do things like that. But the second point, the main point, the most important thing about how your voice sounds is not how the audio or the sound comes through your mouth and through your vocal cords and through your mouth, and that has got very, very little to do with it. The most important thing is, before it comes out of your mouth, is it coming from your heart? Or where is your heart at with what you're saying, and where is your mind at with what you're saying? This is the most important thing about how your voice is going to sound. It doesn't matter how actually your voice comes out through your vocal cords or through your mouth. That has very little to do with it. It is, where is your heart at with what you're saying? As a simple example, where's your mind at? Are you distracted? Are you in a place where maybe you're conscious about someone will hear you talking, someone will hear you making a recording? Then that's going to affect the way you're going to sound. That is, before it even comes out of your mouth, that's going to affect how you're going to sound. If you're worried, maybe you're at home and you're worried people will hear you, your family will hear you, they might come down and distract you, and then you're going to stop recording. If you're conscious, maybe you don't want them to hear you. Make sure you're in the right environment. I found it a little uncomfortable when I was sitting at lights and talking, So just sitting at the traffic light, and I was just conscious about maybe people can hear me and what are they going to think. So that's like, that affects how you're going to sound. Like that just will affect your tone. You'll feel shy. You'll drop the tone of your voice. You won't talk with confidence because you're too preoccupied with what other people are thinking. So where is your mind at? Are you distracted? Secondly, is it coming from your heart? Is it something that you want to tell people? Is it something that you know what you're talking about? You've got a lot of background, you've got a lot of history. It's something that you wanted to talk about for a long time. Is it something that you just want to put out there from your heart? That makes a big. That makes up 90% of how you're going to sound. Are you convicted? Are you convinced with what you're saying? Are you convicted by what you're saying? That is the most important thing. One of the most important things. From your heart, are you convicted? Are you convinced? You could look at two people. One is someone who is convicted and convinced, talking about something, and another one is just like a copycat who's not convicted or convinced. They're just sort of saying it because the other person says it. I mean, the copycat can be effective, but it doesn't mean they're convinced. It just means that they're good actors. So you want to avoid acting, which is like my next point. You want to be real. Like a lot of the advice that people give you, just say you're searching online, a lot of advice is this whole like fake it until you make it, or if you don't sound confident, then you need to speak with a louder voice, or you need to be confident, or this and that. Now, before all of that, that none of that is going to work. None of that is going to work if you're not following the other points that I raised, which is it from your heart? Is it, where's your mind at? Are you convinced by it? If you don't have those things, you can just forget about trying to act. You can forget about all the tricks and changes, and changing of your tone and acting confident. You can forget about all of that if you don't have the basis, which is believing what you're saying. So yeah, they're the most important things. And then of course there's other things you can do, like you can just listen to yourself, and you learn a lot about yourself. Like when I first started doing my recording, I mean, I'm only new to making these recordings and channels, but I noticed a few things. Sometimes I'd have this sort of descending tone, which sort of descended into a mumble, and I've actually seen other YouTubers do that, but you need to, I guess, speak even if you're not sure about something. Like you might, if I noticed that if I wasn't sure, I would go into this descending and then start mumbling. But you can still be confident if you're not sure. You can just say, this is what I think. You can be confident by saying, this is what I think. I mean, what you think is important. You probably put a lot of time and effort and background into establishing, into working out what you think. You can be proud of what you think, and you can say, this is what I think. If I'm wrong, well, you can come and correct me. I'm open to correction. But you don't have to sort of, be not confident even if you're not sure. So I think they're two different things. If you're not sure, just say, I'm not sure. This is what I think. So listen to your voice, and you know, listen to other people talk as well. So YouTube is actually a really great platform to listen to people speak. You know, I've heard motovloggers, like people who ride on their motorcycle and talk. I've heard motovloggers who are better speakers than CEOs, than actual CEOs, and I think part of that is, I guess you won't be a motovlogger unless you're passionate. I don't know, maybe if anyone listening is not involved in, doesn't ride motorcycles or anything like that, but all motorcycle riders are passionate about what they do, and that's why motovloggers, when they speak, motorcycle vloggers, they're passionate, and you can hear that in their voice, and they can speak better than CEOs, because maybe sometimes some CEOs are not really passionate with what they're doing. It's just a job to them. They just wanted to get to a certain level in life, and yeah, so motovloggers speak better than CEOs. So just listen, you pick out what you think is good, pick out some styles that you like, and get the feel of what other people are saying. Get the emotion. It's what it's about. It's about speaking from your heart. It's about being confident to put what you want to say out there into the world. And if it's something that you're not confident about, well, don't say it. Maybe it's not worth saying. Maybe that's why you're not speaking well about it. Maybe that's why your voice is not coming out, because deep down well, maybe it's not worth it. So yeah, that's all I've got. So hopefully you guys, if you like this, you can subscribe and hit like. And if you're a motorcycle rider, you're watching this, ride safe.